Hi everybody, Nancy Beauvair here with Agape and NEXsteps, and today I wanted to talk about a fiduciary. So, show of hands, how many of us out there know what a fiduciary is, or think we know what a fiduciary is? You might be surprised to know that fiduciary is actually a position of trust. I know that many of us associate the term fiduciary with somebody having to do with financial matters. And of course that's true because you have to trust somebody if you're entrusting them with your finances and your financial affairs. But the actual term fiduciary and the actual role of a fiduciary is that involving trust. So for example, your attorney, your lawyer is in a fiduciary role. Your financial planner obviously is in a fiduciary role. But what many of you may not know is that there are personal fiduciary roles and responsibilities and obligations as well. For instance, if you offer to become somebody's power of attorney, that actually places you in a fiduciary role. The fiduciary has what is known as a fiduciary duty. And what that means is that you have an obligation to act in the best interests of that person. You cannot breach that confidence with that person, and you must act in an ethical way. I received my certification from the Personal Fiduciary Standards International, and there were things that were revealed in that are common sense. Much of being in a fiduciary role is common sense. But there are always some nuances. And that is where sometimes people can breach the fiduciary responsibility. In some cases, of course, it's nefarious and people are taking advantage of their position. But most often, if someone is acting in a personal fiduciary role and they breach that fiduciary duty, it's an oversight or just an act of ignorance, just simply because they didn't understand that that was a breach of that responsibility. There are consequences if you breach those duties, so you should be aware of those. If you are found to be in breach, you can have to make restitution, you can be removed from the role, there can be legal consequences. So this is not something that we should be doing lightly. Now I know that when we are creating our personal documents, we tend to name a family member, somebody that we know and trust to act as our power of attorney or as our executor or as the person in charge of our medical decisions. And that's great because you do have to have that level of trust. But I think that it would be in your best interest to make sure that the person who you are naming understands the role and the responsibilities, and that there is actually a legal component to it as a personal fiduciary. I think that also it would be in the best interest of people who are named as a power of attorney to ensure that they know what their obligations are and that they understand potential consequences. So if you are having any concerns or have any questions about the various roles, what you should be looking at when you're appointing somebody, what you should look at if you have been appointed, please, I invite you to hop over to my website and jump onto the shop page. On there you'll find several different guides that you can download, and depending on what your circumstances are and how much information you need, each of those options provide some one-on-one coaching from me, and I know that you'll find those items of great value. So I just wanted to leave you with that, just to be aware, and I will look forward to talking to you again. Bye for now.